What's going on, everybody? Today we're going to be talking about the number 3 recruiting class in the nation in Georgia, also the defending national champions. Kirby Smart put together another tremendous class that will continue to compete in the SEC and potentially defend their national championship. Georgia continued to recruit very well out of the state of Georgia, as well as Texas and Florida. Starting at quarterback, you have Gunnar Stockton. He was the number 7 quarterback in the country this year. You expect once Stetson Bennett leaves Georgia that Stockton and Brock Vandagriff will compete for the starting job at Georgia, especially with the departure of JT Daniels. Regardless, this guy has a lot of potential and he can very well be the next major quarterback at the University of Georgia. And he's going to give Brock Vandagriff a run for his money at the starting job. Moving on to the running backs, you have 2 very talented backs coming in. These 2 guys are joining a really good running back room with Kendall Milton and Kenny McIntosh, but I could very well see these 2 guys right here getting some action their first year and joining a very, very talented running back room. And I think Georgia will have a very strong ground game in the years to come with these 2 guys joining them. Especially with Branson Robinson and the amount of talent he has, I definitely think he's going to have a great career at Georgia. Moving on to the receivers and tight ends, this right here I think is the most interesting group that Georgia has this year. Just because they didn't get necessarily the highest rated receivers, they did get a bunch of under the radar names, and they got the number 2 tight end in Oscar Delp, which he's going to fit very well alongside Brock Bowers in the passing game, and he's going to get to kind of be under his wing a little bit and learn a little bit. But Georgia is very high on prioritizing tight end usage, and we've seen that this past year with Brock Bowers, and I think we will continue to see it in the years to come with Oscar Delp. So this group right here, it is very intriguing. I think Kirby Smart, even though he didn't necessarily bring in, like I said, the highest rated receivers, he's still got a very strong group of guys here. Winning up front continues to be a priority for Georgia and something that year in and year out they continue to be good at. They put a lot of offensive and defensive linemen in the league. But leading this group off right here with Ernest Greene, he's going to be phenomenal at Georgia. I think he's going to be a leader in this class on that front line. And he's the highest rated guy. He's number 2 in his position. The second highest is number 29. It's going to be interesting to see how Georgia moves forward with Matt Luke's kind of stepping down from his role at Georgia. But at the end of the day, I think Georgia is still going to be Georgia. They're still going to dominate up front. That's been their identity. They're going to continue to do that. I think they landed a very strong class, and I'm very excited to see how Ernest Greene and the rest of this class continues to dominate. And now talking about winning up front, on the defensive side of the ball, Georgia had a phenomenal group this year. Jordan Davis, Travon Walker, Devontae Wyatt. It was just insane what Georgia had up front. Those shoes are going to be tough to fill. This group right here is very phenomenal. They have a ton of talent. And just kind of looking at this graphic and looking at the size of these guys are going to have no problem coming in and being phenomenal, just absolutely disruptive up front. Bear Alexander, in my opinion, is one I'm very high on. I think he's going to be a phenomenal player for Georgia, and I think he will be playing on Sundays. But the amount of interior D linemen paired with the great edge rushers that Georgia was able to get with this class, Georgia will continue to be disruptive up front. You can look at the guys they're losing, but if you look at the guys they're bringing in, it's only going to continue to get scarier up front defensively for Georgia. Now going to the linebacker position, Jalen Walker and CJ Washington, this could be a very, very strong 1-2 linebacker duo for Georgia in the future. I think especially with Glenn Schumann sticking around being the main DC, as well as the linebackers coach, I think he's going to play a very strong role in the development of these guys. And Glenn Schumann, he's a phenomenal coach. Even with Dan Lanning going to Oregon, Glenn Schumann sticking around is going to be a phenomenal development piece for these young linebackers. Going on to the secondary, and especially at the corner position, obviously one of the first eye-popping things to me was that 3 out of the top 10 corners in this class went to Georgia. That's incredible. I know Dalen Everett is a Clemson flip. I believe he flipped to Georgia after Brent Venables departed Clemson. I think Venables played a huge part in Everett's recruitment, and after he left, he explored other options and ultimately ended up at Georgia. That is a massive recruiting win for Georgia. The future of Georgia's secondary is just as strong as it is at any other position. What Georgia was able to do with the secondary, especially with these corners, is just nothing short of phenomenal. Kirby Smart did a phenomenal job with the secondary. Moving on to the athletes now. Malachi Starks, I believe he's going to be a safety. He's adding on to that Georgia secondary class, which is already just phenomenal. But Malachi Starks is the #1 athlete in the nation. He's with Georgia. I think he's going to have a great career at Georgia. And most importantly, not really, but Georgia is landing the #1 punter in the nation in Brett Thorson. Overall, I think Georgia is going to still continue to dominate college football world in years to come. I did say in my last video I expected Alabama to retake the SEC this next year. However, in the years to come, Georgia is still going to be a very strong team. I could very well see Georgia winning another national championship in the next 5 years with this recruiting class. I don't expect Georgia to go anywhere. I don't expect this past year to just be a one and done fairy tale for Georgia. I fully expect them to continue to compete for championships in years to come.